Good evening. Coming up tonight, we'll fill you in on what's happening in and outside the Palmetto State.
Stay tuned to hear about the Gamecocks' miraculous victory against the number 5 ranked Volunteers.
And finally, SGTV News 4's latest story about renovations to a historic house right outside of campus.
We will have all that and more tonight on Monday Night Mashup. Welcome to this week's Monday Night Mashup. I'm Elizabeth Martinez.
And I'm Jenna Falconite. Thanks for joining us tonight. In national news, a gunman opened fire at a nightclub in Colorado Springs over the weekend.
5 people were killed and 25 others were injured after the shooter stormed and opened fire into the crowd at Club Q, an LGBTQ nightclub. It happened just after midnight on Saturday evening. Several patrons confronted the gunman and stopped him from hurting more people. According to the city's police chief, Adrian Vasquez, a long firearm and 2 smaller rifles were found at the scene. The suspect and over 20 others were taken to the hospital with several in critical condition. Club Q released in a statement, quote, "We are devastated by the senseless attack on our community. We thank the quick reactions of heroic customers that subdued the gunman and ended this hate attack," end quote. The club's website now says it is closed until further notice. The shooting came just a day before Transgender Day of Remembrance. This is a day dedicated to the victims of the 2016 attack at Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida. According to the Gun Violence Archive, there have been over 600 mass shootings in the United States this year alone. Police are still searching for a potential motive, and more details will be released to the public as the investigation continues. And in local news, the Christmas season has officially begun in Columbia.
The state Christmas tree was lit on Sunday at the 56th annual Governor's Carol Lighting. Hundreds of South Carolinians gathered on the steps of the South Carolina State House at 6 p.m. to watch the tree lighting and sing Christmas carols. This year's state tree is a 35-foot Norway spruce that weighs nearly 5,000 pounds. The tree arrived at the State House 2 weeks ago from Henderson Tree Farms in Morganton, North Carolina. Timber Tech of Greer, South Carolina helped deliver the tree to Columbia for the 18th year in a row. Governor Henry McMaster and his wife, First Lady Peggy McMaster, both attended the carol lighting. The governor shared, quote, "The carol lighting is a truly unique event that Peggy and I look forward to each year. It is the ideal way to join together with South Carolinians from across our great state to celebrate the beginning of the Christmas season," end quote. The event also featured performances by Miss South Carolina, the Carol Lighting Children's Choir, and several choirs from across the state. Students from South Carolina State University, Morris College, and Claflin University also performed. Santa Claus also attended the event to take pictures with children and their families. ETV streamed the event online so South Carolinians across the state could tune in. The state tree will remain on display throughout the holiday season. Elizabeth, this is such a good way to kick off the holiday season. Are you planning on going to see the tree?
I am. I'm actually headed there right after this to check it out for myself.
That's so exciting. That's all for national and local news, but SGTV sports anchor Violet Raftery has the update for all things Gamecock athletics. Violet?
Women's soccer lost to Duke yesterday with the final score of 2-1 in the 3rd round of the NCAA tournament. The loss marks the end of their season, but it also represents their 10th straight appearance in the NCAA tournament. They leave 2022 with the SEC championship and an overall record of 15 wins to 4 ties to 5 losses. Now, Gamecock football upset number 5 ranked Tennessee on Saturday. After a final score of 63-38, a sea of fans stormed the field in celebration. SEC did announce yesterday that the university will be fined $100,000 for the violation of SEC policy. On a different note, SEC also announced earlier today that quarterback Spencer Rattler has been named Co-Offensive Player of the Week following his performance on Saturday. Rattler had 6 touchdowns against the Volunteers. And stadium employees even ran out of enough fireworks to set off. Head coach Shane Beamer addressed fans after the game.
I mean, our whole mindset going into this game, Ben, was attack. You weren't gonna win this football game punting on fourth down and not being aggressive. And the way that we coached the game offensively, the way we coached the game special teams wise, the calls that Clayton made was not sitting back and being passive. Like, we wanted to dictate to them how this game was going to go.
Beamer said that attack had been the word of the week. He also said, quote, "We're going to have a lot of nights like that in Columbia," end quote. The Gamecocks head to Clemson next Saturday. They'll kick off against the Tigers at noon. Fans can catch the Palmetto Bowl on ABC Network. That's all I have for sports tonight. Up next, Nicole Smith will share the weather we're expecting as we head into Thanksgiving break.
Good afternoon, Gamecocks. It's been a bit chilly here in Columbia lately, but sadly that won't be ending tonight with the temperatures being 41 degrees and the winds going 2 miles per hour. But if you're trying to go out and still stay warm, I would definitely head over to Tiger Burn. And if you are going to head over to Tiger Burn, the humidity is at 64%, so I would definitely keep that in mind when doing your hair. Now for the weekly forecast. We have today's with the highs being 58 and the lows being 41. It should warm up a little bit through the week with the low 60s to the mid 60s, with that highest being 65 here on Wednesday. And tonight it's going to get a little bit chillier with the high 40s to low 50s, with that highest being here on Thursday with 53 degrees. Thursday through Saturday it will start to rain, so I would definitely say don't forget your raincoat and jacket. That's all I have for you tonight. After the break, we'll catch you up on everything related to Student Gamecock Television.
Next up, you may have seen some renovations starting at 1527 Gervais Street, right across from the USC Law School. The historic house students drive by every day is getting a new look and purpose. SGTV News 4's reporter Will Kronsberg has the story.
Located just outside of the USC campus footprint, the W.B. Smith Whaley House has been standing since 1892. Originally home to textile mill owner William Burroughs Smith Whaley, the house spent most of the past century as the Dunbar Funeral Home. Now, the former gem of the Columbia skyline stands alone as a relic of a previous era, says Director of Preservation for Historic Columbia, John Scherer.
So you can imagine that, historically it would have looked very different. So if you're driving between here and the State House, think of tree-lined streets, think of an electric street railway system, kind of a trolley.
After sitting dormant in recent years, Cleveland investment and preservation firm GBX announced plans earlier this year to convert the W.B. Smith Whaley House into apartments and a cafe, which has since been announced as a fourth location of Rock Hill-based Knowledge Perk Coffee. The new business is of particular interest to law students like Jake Tiller, who hope to utilize Knowledge Perk for a bit of refreshment and relaxation around their studies.
In between classes, that's a great go-to, especially if it's good coffee. There is a coffee shop in the bottom of the law school, but if that's better coffee, then that could change my habit of starting to go there in between classes.
Building renovations do not yet have an end date, but Knowledge Perk expects to open in Columbia soon after their third location debuts just north of Charlotte. In the meantime, Scherer is excited to see new life coming to such an iconic part of the city.
I think it is so incredibly well suited for this type of adaptive use. And as they say, location, 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 this is definitely going to be a winner.
In Columbia, Will Kronsberg, SGTV News 4.
What an awesome way to preserve a good piece of South Carolina history.
Definitely. I'll definitely have to check that out once all the renovations are done.
Me too, for sure.
That wraps tonight's edition of Monday Night Mashup.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at SGTV at USC.
To keep up with all of our content, be sure to also visit us online at sgtvonline.com. For SGTV News 4, I'm Jenna Falconite.
And I'm Elizabeth Martinez. Have a great night, Carolina. Forever to thee.